All right, so you want to weld up some exhaust, whether you're just going to butt weld them, you're going to weld them in the slip joint, or you're going to weld some kind of hanger or something on it. Quick little video to kind of give you some pointers on how to weld all this stuff up without blowing through it and, well, get you building that exhaust. Now every welder is going to be a little different, but most of them have this chart. You pick what kind of steel you have, what kind of wire, and then what kind of material, and then you can pick from there. Just follow your chart. But if you don't have a chart that you can go by, how do you figure this out? Well, let me show you. So every wire has a burn off rate. So as you're welding, you need so many inches per minute of wire to burn off. And you see here in this little chart, it'll show you the different burn off rates for each wire. Now there's gonna be a little math, but it's minimal, promise. It's 023 wire, and it has a 3.5 inches, I'm gonna call it burn off rate, 050 thick material. And now you're gonna have 1 amp for every thousandths of thickness. Easy, 50 times 3.5, 175 inches per minute. So if we divide that 10, so in 6 seconds, we would have 17.5 inches of wire. You would just let this feed for 6 seconds, measure it, and as soon as you get down to that 17.5 inches, you know you have your inches right. So just because you don't have a setting inches per minute, don't mean that you can't dial it in that way. So that's how you get your wire feed. Now you can buy these pieces from O'Reilly's, Harbor Freight, not Harbor Freight, I got Harbor Freight on the brain, O'Reilly's or AutoZone. You can buy little short pieces. I buy them a longer piece and I just cut them into what I want them to be. Also, if you're gonna do a lot of welding, I always suggest a little anti-spatter spray. We get this from our friends from Rockmount. I'll leave a link. And that way you can just kind of mist. And that way, especially if you're running flux core. So how do you know if your voltage is right? Well, let me show you. And you can pull the trigger and kind of adjust on the fly if you want to. But listen to the popping noise. You'll hear it hits and it's got a distinct sound. So you'll hear it as I'm going. You can hear the sputtering and you can really see it in the weld, like a bunch of BBs. But you got to start somewhere. If you don't already have these settings, all you got to do is from here, I'm going to turn up this voltage as I weld with the other hand, and that way I can see where I'm at. You'll hear it as I go. You hear it cleaning up. Now if you get to the point where you're blowing out, then you know you went too far. So you can see BBs all the way to it's starting to flatten out. Now you want this to kind of be a little flat. You don't want this big hump. So once you get where you think you're at, go up just a little bit more. So I'm at 18, I'm going to go up to 19. All right, so once you've turned it up to where you think you need it to be, lay a bead down. And after you drop your MIG gun, you'll see how it kind of flattens out. It's kind of running up against that other weld. And what I'm looking for also is I'm looking for some kind of penetration on the other side. So you have to juggle that speed. If you're going too fast, it'll raise up. So as you slow down, it'll flatten out a little bit. Now, it's going to blow through a lot easier in this butt up because you got the bevel and everything. So you're going to have to move a little faster. Now you're not going to try to weld the whole thing at one time. I might weld halfway and then weld the other half up. So I would run here to here, and then I might turn it and go from here to here. That way this will cool a little bit by the time I get there. Uh-oh. So what happens if you burn a hole through just like that? So I'm running and I pause for a split second, the heat got away. which is a sign that I need to turn the heats down a little bit. I'm going to go down to 18 volts, other way. So the fix is going to be easy. I'm going to not try to fill it all at one time. It's just going to be a little weld, little weld, little weld until I get back to this other side. So you're filled up. Now I'm going to let that cool, and I'm going to start welding between these two tacks. Practice the weld, right? I'm going to run from here to here. You're just going to run from here to the other side. But what I'm going to do, it's going to be hard to see. I'm going to look inside of there, and I'm going to see if I have penetration, which is what I want. If you don't, slow down just a little bit. Now, if you're going to take this and you're actually going to do more of a lap joint, it's easier because you don't have to worry about trying to burn through this chamfer. You have some good base steel here now. So when you weld this, you can really manipulate it a little bit more. Now I just slowly work myself around, and you just got to get used to the cadence. Now a little difference what you see here. So I spent a little bit more time on top and the bottom, so I'm doing like a small loop. If you don't spend enough time on the bottom, like if you do 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, you can see how we don't have these nice fine ripples here like we do here. So you just got to kind of get used to 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You got to find that rhythm. That's why a couple practice pieces, you see this one kind of flattened out for us. And at the end I came back just a little bit to fill in that sink. We're just going to make do. Let's say this is a hanger. We're just going to weld it onto here. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to just tack this on. The hanger is going to be a little bit thicker, so I'm going to hang out on this thicker material just a little bit more. I'm going to come up, and it's going to be like a curve. So maybe I'll do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then just like a small circle. So I'm going to drive down into the root and out and around. So since I'm welding hard wire, I'm going to push. So I'm going to come down here, stick on that top. Come down, top, through the root, down. Now if it looks like this, you need to spend a little bit more time in the bottom of this. It's looking better, so let's weld the other side now. And you can see that puddle as you go. So as you go through, you just start stacking it. And like right here, I need to hang out just a little bit more on the very end. So you just keep making loops. You can get these little flat pieces at like Lowe's or Home Depot. Just cut them with the cutoff wheel if you need to. I am going to go up 1 volt back up to 19. Hit the corner, and as you start get your settings better, it'll start looking more and more. You'll start seeing the little scallops in the weld. If you look inside, it'll be kind of hard to see, but you know there should be a little bit of penetration inside of that weld. Not spending enough time on the bottom of that toe, so I stayed there. I dwelled a little bit more. Start making it a little better. And then here I was getting the cadence down, but I went up just a little bit more. I went up 1 volt, and I went up 5 inches per minute on the wire. And then I think that looks a lot better. We get a lot of help from our friends at Rockmount. I'll leave some links below. The little V-clamps, V-blocks, whatever you want to call them. Our friends at Stronghand purposely showed you a few errors as you go, what to look for. So don't be afraid to make a few mistakes. If nothing else, go down in the comments, give me some questions. I can always give you a link to the Discord room that Jeepingmo has. You can also go to the Jeep Talk Show Discord. I can help you there just as easy. And then you can show me pictures of what you're getting, and I can help you out. So hope this quick little video helped you. Don't be afraid to get out and make some, and I'll see you here in this next build.